Hi, Phil from Salt Consulting with some more on development perspectives. Recently, people have been asking about complexity, as I've been speaking about it a bit, and they've posed the question, aren't all situations, development situations, almost by definition complex? I think that's true to an extent, but I also think there's specific elements or aspects to complexity that we can attempt to analyse and understand to work out really what the implications might be for other aspects of development programming. So those of you who know me know I love a good quadrant chart, but I couldn't fit these on a quadrant. I required something with 8 sections to it. So 4 axes. Now there might be more, this is just some early thoughts, but on the one hand you've got, let's look at my notes here, strong sense of nationhood, and on the other end of that would be a high degree of social fracture. So ethnicity and tribalism and religious divisions. Another aspect or another axis, would be gender integration and freedoms, and the opposite of that would be a highly differentiated society along gender lines and the consequent oppressions and so on that go along with that. Another one would be political reach and responsiveness, so strong government, strong and responsive government, and the opposite of that would be a weak and fragile government sort of preoccupied with its own survival. And then I think the fourth one would be peace and justice and the rule of law, and the opposite of that would be conflict and violence. Now, if you map out different countries and assign some values to those various indices, then you can sort of see where they might sit in that, let's call it a quadrant, and you could kind of work out from that what the implications might be for things like community engagement and development programming and durable solutions. And I think particularly relevant to think about is if you're an agency specialised in, let's say, gender programming, but your work isn't taking into account other aspects of a complex situation, for example, political fractures or social fractures or a lack of nationhood, then I think your efforts and your the gains you win there will be fragile, and the efforts may be undermined. And a classic example would, of course, be Afghanistan. Again, I'll get to some other examples later on, but where there was real efforts put into gender freedoms and gender sort of programming. But things like nationhood and political stability were never really adequately dealt with, and the absence of the Taliban from the negotiating table led to a kind of weak political apparatus that collapsed rapidly, as we all know, and then gains in those other areas were also rapidly undermined. So that's just some early thoughts, but I've also sort of mapped out a problem tree and how these things relate to each other. I'll put them up and welcome your thoughts. Thanks.